Welcome to today's collective reading. This is Trinity Gaia Consciousness. My name is Sally. We're going to open with some sound resonance today. I invite you to take a deep breath in with me. Pause and a long exhale. Setting that intention that this time is you time. Time where you can connect with your future self, your higher self, your spirit team, divine, the universe, source. That those synchronicities that may be here for you will be here. That maybe they're new ones. You just don't know it yet until you encounter it, and maybe then you'll understand why you have a new synchronicity, because now there are others that are able to catch the flow of even just your awareness of the synchronicity. Like your energy shifts the experience because of your recognition. We have a greater ripple effect out from ourselves, even in our subtle energy, than we sometimes realize. It's a sense of groundedness, calm, peace. So when you have like a little spark of a recognition, it's noticed. Your excitement, your awareness is felt. It can also be seen probably in your body language, your tone of voice. As you can see, we already have a card out here. I'm going to be pulling a couple more from the Archangel deck. Each of us has a unique relationship with nature and being present in it. Just sitting in awareness. No phone, no reading material, just being. Hearing the wind, feeling the sun on our skin, the earth beneath our feet. It's unique to all of us. And Archangel Jophiel is here to let you know that this is something that maybe you have wanted to allow yourself to have. You've been meaning to make time for this. If you are stressed, it's harder to sometimes allow yourself to do things like take 10 minutes to go outside and just be. But doing this will actually really increase your effectiveness, your efficiency, your ability to be more fully present when you come back. So it's filling that cup. Initially may feel selfish, but really you're bringing your best you to the next interaction on the other side. And creativity, there's an idea, there's a solution somehow that will just come to you. Not necessarily during that time, but it shifts the way our brain, the state of it, the presence, the awareness, even probably the waves, the brain waves, it shifts that. So we're able to connect different neurons in a different way. So this creative idea may have its roots in this time outside, in nature, but it'll really bloom when you encounter the situation. Maybe you don't even know what this particular creative idea will be inspired by. You may know going into this, sure, but some of you, you don't necessarily know you're going to encounter a opportunity where, because you took this time, your creative juices are flowing a bit more because you've allowed different neural pathways to become more empowered, more available to connect. Many times when I am personally outside, I feel this expansion. And yet it's also a within. This has been something that's been coming up lately, and it is like you can drop some of the labels for a little bit and just be yourself. Not the you doing or the you with the responsibilities or well, for example, I'm not the daughter, the mother, the caregiver, the counselor, the best friend, the partner in that moment. I'm just me. Just me. Just consciousness, being aware of being aware. So it's expansive, but it's also going within to that very basic observer, that very awareness that you are aware. So it's kind of a contradiction, but it happens simultaneously. If this is something that for some of you is a bit of a challenge because your mind is just always going, it's kind of like those math posters where you look at it and some people, like their minds, they just see the image hidden within the math immediately, but it looks like chaos. But there's some level of order to it. And if your mind is one of the minds that just, it instantly pops to you, that is something that you could find in the fluttering of leaves in the summer, in the wind, or the ripple of the water on the lake on a windy day. Just this constant. So that may be your way to kind of quiet that analytical part of your mind. Give it a puzzle to try to solve. And it's just happy as could be. And then you can just be. So finding what works for you, what really helps you to achieve that state, is something that Archangel Jophiel is inviting you to allow yourself to nurture yourself with. And this will open up so many different ways of thinking and connecting ideas more efficiently because of that shift, that break. Being aware of yourself, observing yourself, will become something that you're more anchored in. You have a stronger relationship with, you're more familiar with it. So as, say, you come back from outside and you get your cup of coffee or tea and you sit down at your desk. In this scenario, you're working from home and there's a new problem that comes. Someone's having some issues with something in some system somewhere and you're the go-to person. And it's not so much the system is the challenge, it's the interaction with the individual that may be more the challenge of how to help them from one point to the next while, being very efficient and effective here. But it's like, that before that 10 minutes of being out and just decompressing and finding this, that you may have had a bit of the come over from the last interaction or what was on your mind before going out for that 10 minutes or whatnot. And you know that really is something that is past energy. It's not brought to this interaction. And how powerful it is that you made that choice. That you chose to empower your own being, your own knowledge and awareness of your physical body. Yes, your mind. But the observation that this is an empowering step. This is something that Archangel Jophiel is like, yes, I am here. I'm showing up. Let's do this. You have support in this. Just a feeling of a smile to bring to it, a positive anticipation instead of an anxiety. That is a choice. Our physical body does not know the difference between anxiety and anticipation. So you may have some skepticism that this may be something that could really help make that shift so quickly. But instead of, choosing to look at the glass half empty, we can choose to look at it as half full and be open to maybe this might actually work. This might help. And if it does, then you just effectively advocated for yourself in a positive way and created positive change in your reality. And that's awesome. That's awesome. Being that it's an archangel coming through, like this is definitely something that is going to be something that could be very positive and have a lot of impact if you are open to that. Okay. Because ultimately it is your choice. Ultimately it is. If you're not open to it, you're not open to it. And that's, you're being your authentic self. I don't know why, but I'm getting don't knock it till you try it. It's not like in a sassy way, but you could take it that way. I don't know, maybe you know someone who would say that, and it's like, you remember when? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right, we have counselor. It's very strong guidance, but it's not necessarily like a guide, someone outside of you who has an ego and is someone else. It's you're present in this. You're co-creating this guidance. Archangel Raziel, you are a natural counselor and many people benefit from your guidance and reassurance. Going back to that example with work, it's not necessarily the system that's the challenge. It's the personal inner reaction. Hello. The I am here. I think he's a little restless. We have some deer that like to come in our backyard, and he always wants to go out. He had his time today. Deer may be a synchronicity as well for you guys. And with how he just jumped in here, this is something too that you could maybe just find yourself in and realize. And give yourself credit. Give yourself credit for how, I want to say eloquent, but that's not quite the right word. There's like a skill, a finesse, I don't want to be in je ne sais quoi, because I'm not really sure what that means exactly. Je ne sais quoi. Oui, oui, very French. No, I'm just being silly now. But give yourself credit for that. And I get the feeling that there's some individuals here in particular that this is really reaching out to, that don't give yourself credit for that. How good you are with people. That maybe other people don't give you credit for how good you are with people. You're feeling a little under-acknowledged. And really, it's not about other people. I mean, yes, like if it's your boss and they're not giving you credit, well, hey. But if you give yourself credit, at least you have your back. Even if that person doesn't, you know your worth. And if you know your worth, you move like that. And whether this boss will appreciate that or the next boss, you do. and that has a ripple effect. Yes, he wants to go back outside. All right, so he's settling for playing with the crystal. He likes the green ones. I'm not so sure. I'm not. It's the color of the heart chakra. Indigo and crystal children. Archangel Metatron. Oh, he's just having fun. You have a bond with children in particular. You can help children who are sensitive. Like a little attention deficit, the hyperactivity, the thought interruption with this happening in a reading. It's rather unique. I don't think it's ever happened before like this. So you may experience some of this yourself. And that's part of why children who experience something similar to this, they're drawn to you. They feel calmer around you because they sense that you understand. Now that can be, I mean, with indigo and crystal children here, this is not necessarily just that. I mean, it can have many layers to it. And depending on your strength within the clairs and the children's, there's going to be really interesting and fascinating ways in which that blooms, that grows, because every good teacher learns from their students as well. You grow as a teacher, you learn what's more effective. And sometimes they surprise you with going, oh yeah, I caught that, or I picked up on that. And you're like, whoa, I didn't know that was, wow, I can do, what? I'm getting for someone, you're like, that was telepathically picked up by it. I was reading not just their body language, but I was literally speaking their mind. Oh my goodness. Like that recognition of that and being a little awed by that. Right, we're going to dive a little deeper into this in particular before, I bring this reading here. Okay, let's dive a little deeper into that because I'm catching a note of this may happen, it may have happened, or it may be about to happen. This is not necessarily that you're working as a teacher. You could be a parent, an aunt, a neighbor. You could be a friend that, you're observing or you're watching, you're babysitting the kids, whatnot. But there are children around you that are working with clairs, and this may be a dynamic that you encounter. I'm being pulled to this Pharaoh Psychic deck, but I don't think there's actually a card for it here to pull. What it's telling me is that this is a wound that you have because you're in disbelief about it. Now, this wound, it's not like someone inflicted it on you. It could be the society you grew up in just was like, wait, what? No, that's not real. And yet here you are, and you're in a time where it's more acceptable. It's more common, especially with a lot of children and adults that are acknowledging that they are somewhere on this spectrum. There's a wound here. Okay. Around this disbelief of this. Okay. So maybe being in the outdoors can help you to nurture that. Think of yourself like a plant. We need sun. Spend some time out in the sun and allow those light codes to come in. Allow yourself to just bask in it and see what begins to connect. Ooh, that's powerful, guys. We have silenced. Yeah, this part of you was silenced. The fear of conflict is choking your growth. Let the discomfort come. Let the truth breathe. And this is not necessarily meaning that you don't use your discernment. Of course, you're going to use your discernment. But this is saying that there's an opportunity, an environment, a group, an individual that you are not meant to have this part of you be silent. Your awareness of this is not meant to be silent anymore. This part of you, given the example with the child and going, oh my gosh, what? I was literally picking up on what they were thinking and saying telepathically, but they weren't speaking. And the child's honest response, you're just, yes. The child's honest response could be a little jarring for you. Okay, so it's silence. So how do we move beyond this? I mean, yes, to give voice, but once it's voiced, there's a fear, there's a reason it was silenced. How do we move beyond that? What do we need to know once we do speak? We have unshakable. The path may be brutal and full of obstacles, but your purpose is stronger. Keep going and it will all be worth it in the end. Okay. Now, that one is giving me not literally what it's reading. However, that may resonate for some of you given your situations, your dynamics. You know how complicated your situation around this may be. You may be a teacher. And you're picking up on this and you're like, oh my goodness, what do I do with this information? You may be a counselor and you're like, okay, well, what do I do with this within the scope that I'm able to work within because this is my profession? Okay, so it could be very complicated for you. But what I'm really picking up on here is that you know who you are. That observer. Taking this time, maybe you've already strengthened this, but maybe you're beginning. Maybe you're beginning this practice and you're recognizing the impact it has, and the more you do it, the more you are aware that you can intentionally, by doing this, effectively create that change. With my male kitty boo coming in here with that masculine energies. I'm going to go outside for a few minutes. And it shifts everything. You're able to connect deeper within you, but yet again, that expansion, wow, okay. It's hard to put that in words. It is. It's challenging. I have the right words for that. Because this is a concept coming out in the counselor card with this guide here that was spoken about in the outdoors card here. So these two, they're working together very, very in tandem. They're strengthening the same thing. They're reinforcing those neural pathways. And it's about the next generation being able to feel heard, understood, and allowing yourself to learn and be healed by those interactions as well. Children need guides. They need safe adults. They need their environment to be something that they can grow within. And part of that is knowing that the adult that is there with them, that is caregiving, understands and assumes the best. But this is highlighting the healing with that disbelief that you really did pick up on that it really is happening. So you have to share this. You have to speak about this with someone you trust. To have an open mind, even if they don't necessarily understand themselves from their own perspective, that they can have that conversation with you. Meaning balance between logic and heart, mind and heart. Not just mind. This is outside of some of the very rigid beliefs depending on your culture. And culture could be your family unit, not necessarily even the country or the region within the country you're born. It could be your family unit. That base programming. To keep going, this is something that you are meant to do, that it is time. And whatever may come, the reason it's highlighting obstacle is because that's what it is. It's not immovable. It's an obstacle. You can bend with it. You are adaptable. Oh, okay. So that came out right away. So we're going to do just a little more deeper here about like this adversity here that you will be adapting to, the obstacles, the overcoming. Okay, these two came out together. All right, so we have the Seven of Wands inverted. This is defensive of this. You know, I don't blame you for not being confident that, I mean, if you're in a position where you're the adult in this dynamic, not necessarily like the child, where you identify as this counselor, I mean, this is a silence you've kept for a very, very long time. This part of you may, if you ever did try to speak about it, it was not validated. It was not supported. It was never talk about this again. That kind of a reaction. So you're very protective of this wound. But it is breaking your heart to not let this speak, to not give this voice. And it's keeping you anchored in a past with this Five of Cups. It's keeping you anchored in a past. You're channeling your creative energy into the past, not your present. And that's this big shift. That's why the archangels were like, we're what you're going to start with today. I'm also having that visual from, I can't remember the name of the TV show, but you have the angel and you have the demon, and it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, and I can't remember what it's called. But there's a little boy, which with the kid here, or with the children here too. It's amazing I'm able to stay on point with all these interruptions from this little cutie here. Oh my goodness, Goobs. So, can't remember the name of it. I'm going to put it in the comments because I know it. I know it. I just can't remember the name. Either way, some archangel, or I'm not sure who she was. I didn't catch it in the clip, but she was basically like having an ego trip with the authority that she thought she had because some other angel wasn't present. And then Archangel Metatron walked in, and apparently this angel and the duo of the angel and the demon that were to guide this little boy, he was like on trial, or he was, being judged in some way. But Archangel Metatron just walked in and was like, here's your favorite coffee, let's go talk. Just kind of saved him a little bit, was like, no. And he immediately told this gal that she had no such authority. And it was kind of comical in a way. So I'll see if I can't find that particular short and share it or link it below. So you guys could really just capture all the nuances of what is being highlighted. All right. So that creative energy is going in the past. Whoop. So are we going to? Choosing a path from within yourself. Choose to speak, not to speak. Choose to share, choose not to share. Choose when and how to overcome the obstacles when you're ready. You have all the power. You choose your path here. This is not some kind of ultimatum. What this is telling you is it's time, and you have someone in mind to share this with, and it's time to share it. They're at that point where they're ready to hear it, and you're at the point where it's time to share it. And these obstacles, they're not just necessarily obstacles to moving your creative energy to the present and being very protective of this wound. It's also about creating ways through any obstacles that may come as a result of speaking what has been silenced. And that is your awareness of this. How do you, if you're using pure logic, make sense of what occurred from a scientific perspective? That may be the question. Because if you don't have an answer and they don't have an answer, well, where do you go from there? And that may be all that needs to be said. This part of you may just need to hear another person go, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. That's wow. And they may be like, that sounds kind of cool. They may not. But this person you have in mind is there because they're the person that you're meant to have this conversation with, you're meant to share with. And they may need to sit with it for a little bit. And that's respectful. That's respectful. Whatever this is, you're not being guided to a bad experience. Clearly, you're not. This is about the next generation. You're meant to be able to feel empowered enough to own that this really is something that's legitimately occurring. So you can move out of that disbelief. Because if you're guiding and you're in disbelief, they're going to be looking at you like, wait, what? It's kind of like trying to teach children how to do a basic math problem and then knowingly writing the wrong answer in. And they're so confused, right? So this is meant to help you anchor that truth and to stop that, wait, what? That might be the title, wait, what? That might be, because it's got a little bit of humor to it. It's got some levity. Levity. Right? With that, because you have the choice. You can choose your path. That I'm going to bring this particular reading to a close. The divine within me sees and honors the divine within you. The love within me sees and honors the love within you. Namaste.